Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Whalenerds podcast. This is episode number 25.
Right on.
My name is Slater, and I'm here with Eric and Katlyn.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
And we are super excited because we had a great day on the water the last couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
What did you see yesterday?
Yesterday, I had the most notable thing was a pod of 6 orca that were kind of funny because we were watching humpback whales and we look off in the distance, maybe a little bit more than a quarter mile away. We see some dorsal fins popping out of the water, and they were kind of not small, but not really big. So I was like, oh, look like Rizzo's dolphins. And then my crew was like, oh, no, that doesn't look very Rizzo-y. So we get closer and closer, and I was like, wow, this is really weird. What are these things? Turns out it was six orca, no mature males, but looks like it was like one sprouter.
Yeah, that had a thick dorsal fin.
Yeah.
It's for sure, man.
Yeah, and then one larger, well, not larger, but one female, and then a bunch of jubies.
Aren't they Adam's super rare?
Yes, so
CA 1,844.
Eventually when I put the pictures up, Adam's like, those are my super ultra rare transients. And I'm like, are you positive? I'm like, look at my pictures, look at your pictures. He's like, I'm positive.
Oh, yeah. He's only seen like 3 pods. So
yeah, so he's like, yeah, those are the CA 122s. And I guess the original, the matriarch 122 herself is actually no longer around. But this is the pod. This is who's left, and yeah, it was pretty interesting. They're tiny, not a tiny pod, but tiny individuals.
Yeah, they're not very big whales. When I saw the video go on social media yesterday, I was like, I wonder if those are the 122s. They're all really little whales.
Another neat thing about the pod, it seems like they all have really big eye patches too, so they're really neat looking.
Did they kill anything?
They didn't kill anything. Actually, it was kind of one of those. I'm almost glad they weren't in hunting mode because they're just traveling. So we saw them off of Carmel Bay, and it just kept on going up and kept on going up to the one point where they were actually moved at a high rate of speed, porpoising, but still going in a straight line. And then later on, when we handed them off to the rest of the fleet, they were having a harder time with it. So we got there at the right time.
Well, there's this interesting, like, 3 pieces of there's like 3 ridges in the canyon right before Carmel Bay. Depending on how far out you were, and it's real easy to lose the whales there. I don't know what it is about the bathymetric qualities of the area, but like I've lost killer whales right around Carmel Bay so many times because they can either follow the canyon in, they can keep going on a straight line, or they can go southwest.
Yeah,
I've lost killer whales in Carmel before too.
Yeah,
exiting Carmel Bay.
Yeah.
Okay, and the day before that we had the CA-51s.
Mm-hmm.
And how weird is it that you have like one pod, then they leave, and then another pod comes in and they leave?
I feel like that happens a lot.
I think they know. It has to be. There has to be some correlation.
I wonder how. I also speculate a lot. Like, do they meet up offshore somewhere?
Yeah, like it comes in like a wave like that.
Yeah,
It actually does if you think about it.
it does. And then one thing, Katlyn just said, it kind of makes me wonder, like if they met up offshore, it's like the 122s. It's like why are they so rare? But this year, 2 sightings at least.
Well, one here and one down in Santa Barbara Channel.
I'm just wondering, before Adam saw these super ultra rare animals, when was the last sighting? So
yeah.
Well, yeah, it wasn't that long ago. It was.
you remember?
Oh, you've seen them before?
No, when Adam saw them.
Oh yeah,
but
who's seen them
before Adam,
that?
yeah.
Before that.
Are they really?
Might have been a year before.
Wow.
Or maybe
Super
2
ultra
years.
rare. And
I know they were around in that really big season in 2016. But I don't remember if they were sighted in 2016.
Even like Slater's, that 199 that we thought was George.
We were talking about that today.
Don't even remember, when the last time they saw that whale.
It's funny because I was asking John today.
I don't think I've ever seen 199.
Any whale, if he remember, like if he hasn't seen, if there's any whales he hasn't seen in a long time, and he was like, I haven't seen CA 199. And I was like, hey, we just saw that whale not too long ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen CA 45 since we sighted them one time in 2016. We sighted them 14 miles offshore. And they hadn't been seen for 8 or 12 years before that.
And then last year, there was that CA-10 that popped up. And then I guess that's like a once a year or maybe every few year whale that shows up.
I think CA-24
where do they
is like
go?
that too.
Yeah.
Dude, I still think they party off the Oregon Coast.
I think they go
time.
offshore a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much to be out of our range in the perspective of a whale.
If they could sit out 30 miles off the coast and be out of our
we
range.
would never see it.
Another thing, we keep on thinking, we here in Monterey we see more orca, and Southern California we don't see them as much, but come to think, like, habitat-wise and food availability, is like Channel Islands. That'd be such an ideal place for an orca, you know, the rookeries.
Transiting south down the coast right now from wherever they were because they're following either the Steller sea lions or the California sea lions headed to the breeding colony.
Like we all,
big fat males are going down.
Like we all talked earlier, it seems like Oregon's kind of like a dead zone with not many whale watchers. You just never know who's crossing through there, hanging out there. Yeah.
Well, and like I always think we see the killer whales in Monterey again. You get a little uptick in the fall in September and October because that's when the males are back from breeding.
Yeah.
So maybe they're following the males down offshore to the Channel Islands now because they're all hooked up, getting ready to go to breeding.
Yeah. Trying to think a bunch of rare. Oh yeah, so CA10, N25. That was another one that showed up twice last year, and like I never even heard of the whale.
We saw it in the big season in 2016.
2016. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that year I think 90% of the transient killer whale population checked in to the bay.
Yeah,
like,
that's pretty cool.
We also had
a big year.
The whales right before I left to San Juan Island. Who were they? The CA. 40, I don't know. I haven't wrapped it up.
The 27s?
No, it was 46? Some low numbers, and then Richie was there.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, I forgot the number, but
a bunch of random numbers this year.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
You know who we haven't seen for a while is Jagged, the 216s.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't seen her group for a long time. She's like all female types, and sometimes Fat Fin travels with her.
Yeah, I saw her in front of the Moss a few years ago, but I don't remember any recent appearance.
I haven't seen Fat Fin for a while either, actually.
Don't say that.
No, he does that. He'll show up for like 4 or 5 days, and then he's gone for a couple months.
I miss his buddy Chop Fin. He used to always be side by side with him.
I never saw Chop Fin.
Either. I was out on the water one day when he was reported, but all of a sudden we got socked in fog as soon as we got there, and we never saw him.
Yeah.
We never could confirm.
He was a good whale. Him and Chop Fin, there were days they'd be side by side showing really well. They were good. He was a good whale.
Yeah. Today we had a mom and calf humpback whale.
Oh, cool.
Humpback whales.
Uh-huh.
And it was in the fog, so it was really exciting. Actually, it was cool. We were watching the mom and calf, and then they ran right into a pod of northern right whale dolphins and whitesides. And then I was like, everybody, like, you know how the dolphins kind of like circle like really tightly, like really quickly, like they're chasing food. Mm-hmm. Well, then I was like, well, they just ran into the whales.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, you guys pay attention. They might start, like, sometimes they get the calf, playing. Yeah. And sure enough, like the calf kind of, it didn't spy hop, but it like lifted his head up a lot more and then kind of like rolled.
That's cool.
Then and then a bunch of northern right whale dolphins popped up real close to it.
Is this that extra white calf on the bottom? Is it that one? There's one calf out here. It's a lot of white on it.
It was pretty dark. But yeah, so they played around for a little bit, and then it was actually like not even 5 minutes they were together, and then they split off. They both went complete opposite directions. One went north into the canyon, and then one went down or headed south. Mm-hmm. We stayed with the dolphins for a little while longer, and then ended up we passed the humpback calf off to another boat. They actually had to find it because it was in the fog.
Yeah.
And then I guess it was doing some breaching.
Such a weird. And then I was watching you guys. I noticed that here in Monterey, it was like the nicest day ever. Then I looked further offshore. I was like, oh. And I heard you guys complaining on the radio. I was like, wow, that's weird.
Yeah, it was really foggy. Like
everybody
really,
kept
really
saying
foggy.
The fog was coming. They were like, it's been too hot for too many days. The fog's coming.
Yeah, you can literally see it like over by the mall, like rolling in the higher parts.
Yeah, when I went to Whole Foods just now, we could see it. It was just coming into the parking lot there.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was cold and windy too.
A straight line from like the point to Marina.
Yeah, straight across. Yeah. Yeah. So today was nice.
I did a whale thing on land since I didn't get to go whale watching this week.
What did you do?
I went with my friend Brian and Emily to teach middle schoolers about whales at summer school yesterday.
That's right.
Oh, nice.
What'd you teach them?
We just kind of like winged it because we didn't really have a whole lot of guidelines from the teacher. But I like made this video loop of a bunch of videos of like baleen whales and then odontocetes. And they were actually, when we got there, they were like 4th through 7th grade.
Oh, wow.
So it was like quite a wide
little kids
range. So we like made them get up and move every 10 minutes or so. We'd be like, swim, like, how do you think a jellyfish swims? Or how do you think a fish swims? Or like, let's pretend to be krill. Or we lined them all up in the classroom. We're like, this is how long a whale is. Like, it was pretty fun. They had lots of questions. It was really cool. So
That's
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that picture of you guys doing that. Where'd you get those shirts?
We both happened to buy that humpback whale shirt at Old Navy.
Oh, how funny!
And then they were like, we were prepping the night before, and Brian was like, I'm gonna wear this whale shirt I have, and I was like, wait a second, is it this whale shirt? And I pulled it out of my closet, and he was like, yes. I was like,
yeah, I have that shirt too.
You do?
Yes. I have a different version of it, but I have the Old Navy shirt.
I have a super nice button up that has killer whales on it, and it ripped, and I was so sad. It was like one of the coolest button ups I ever had.
Yeah, so then Emily really was feeling like she had some FOMO, right? Like she was like, I want a whale shirt too. They didn't have one at Old Navy. So we were trying to find him last night.
There was really like one left at the one over here in Marina.
Brian found another humpback whale, one that's filled in.
Yeah, that's one I have. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now you and Brian have matching shirts too.
We'd be twins. I'm going to call him next time I see him.
Yeah.
Wear that shirt.
Yes. So that was fun. It was really hot.
I'm trying to think what else I saw. Other than what? I saw a shark the other day.
Oh. Did you see Eric Maylander's photo of the great white shark with a shark bite on it?
No.
Wow,
that's intense.
Really cool. Yeah, it almost didn't look like shark, like the way that it was like rake marks.
Really?
Yeah, but then you could see that it dug in.
Did he say it was a shark or was it a sea lion? Because sometimes the sea lions fight back.
No, the mouth would have been huge.
Oh really? Oh,
yeah,
it's
it
that
was
big?
like a shark. It was like wide.
Oh
like
god,
shark.
I gotta see that.
Did he post
Look it
on
up real
his
quick.
Facebook?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess there's a lot of sharks around.
Yeah.
Up by Aptos in that area.
Well, you know how we always think Aptos, I guess some locals have been saying they're off of Marina State Beach.
Oh, really?
And you know how it's really high up there?
there?
Yeah, I thought about just like hanging up out there and just looking down since it's so easy.
I don't know. I can't see it.
What are you looking for?
What? I don't know. It's really cool. Hopefully you guys can find that photo.
Did you find it? No.
Big shark. It's like, I guess it's like 10 feet. It's not. It's actually technically still a juvenile, right? You said till like what?
Yeah,
like
till about
14?
11ish or so. Then they 10, 11ish. Yeah, that's when their teeth start changing and the diet starts changing. Yeah.
And they start biting their friends. You know who I want to see this summer?
Who?
Hook, the blue whale.
Yeah. Hook is a famous whale.
Where have you seen Hook at?
I've seen Hook back. I've seen him off of Orange County when I was at Dana Wharf. I've seen him over in Long Beach by the rigs when I was we were working for the aquarium, and I've seen him in Big Sur, and I've seen him also like more north towards like the SoCal. I've seen him everywhere. Up down the coast.
We're not talking about Captain Hook.
No.
There's a blue whale that we don't know if it's a girl or boy, huh?
I don't think so.
Well, this whale. Half of the fluke is actually like, how would you?
I would say disfigured.
Like
yeah, I would say. I don't think it's a bite. I think it's a disfigurement.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's some kind of like
it's too clean.
It looks like a hook instead of. It's like it's
like a sickle. What did you describe it as? Like a sickle almost. Yeah.
It's like the leading edge, so like towards the front of the body is there, like the
just missing the whole top half
is there, but then the whole back half of the fluke is gone.
Yeah.
I've seen it all over Southern California, and then I saw it up here.
Yeah.
I think it was either last summer or the summer before.
I think it was last. You might have been with me. Yeah, we might have been together.
I think.
Which is so
we
cool
had
because
both
it's like
our boats out. All three of us got to see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's over like 500 miles.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. That's why I love telling people, especially for like people like us who've worked everywhere, traveled everywhere. It's kind of neat to tell people, yeah, I've been like 6 hours south and seen the exact same pod or exact same whale. Shows you how much room they really need, you know.
Yeah, and how much more they're spreading out too.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So between talking about Hook and then there was actually some killer whale news from the Atlantic coast. I was thinking maybe we should talk about famous whales in general.
Yes, I saw the video. I've seen it every day for the past few days. It keeps getting shared.
Yeah, so the video we're talking about is there was a killer whale sighted off the coast of Cape Cod, swimming with Atlantic white-sided dolphins, which is newsworthy for two reasons. One, because they don't really see killer whales that often off of the eastern seaboard. And two, it's pretty rare to see killer whales swimming with other dolphins. And I think no one's confirmed the ID that I've seen, but I think a lot of people are speculating that it's this killer whale called Old Tom that they see off the eastern seaboard and all the way up in the Bay of Fundy. A couple of people I know have seen him. This lady, Joanne, who works at Hyannis Whale Watch Cruises out of Provincetown, and then this other lady, Shelley, who works up at Briar Island whale watching seabird cruises. So Provincetown is down in Cape Cod, and then Briar Island is all the way up in the on the south end of the Bay of Fundy. So that's a pretty big area. You're talking Nova Scotia down to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And they don't really, from what I know, they don't really know much about him. Is he transient? Is he resident? Is he offshore? But he is seen swimming with dolphins.
That's cool. So cool. And that's the second case this year in different areas, because they just had the northern residents swimming with Pacific white-sided dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
That is, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Not swimming,
Just
bow riding white-sides with a blue whale, but with a killer whale.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Pretty awesome. So there is another old Tom killer whale that's famous that is actually from Australia.
Yeah.
The last sighting was 1930 is when he washed ashore dead, and they have the skeleton at the Eden Killer Whale Museum in Australia.
That's the one I always thought you were when you mentioned that name. That's the one I was thinking about.
He was they thought he was one of the leaders of a pod of killer whales that would help herd other whales into a bay so the whalers could hunt them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've heard that kind of line of rhetoric several times.
Kind of heard a
that
story.
Killer whales would help
recall
the whalers.
A story about that. Yeah.
They do in where is it? It's in Alaska, right? They bring they chase the narwhal somewhere, and then the natives use the killer whales to pin them in the cove or pin them somewhere.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did they talk about that in that book at all?
No, this is something else. I think it's in a documentary on Netflix.
Because I know the whalers, there was some sort of benefit where it seemed
might have been belugas,
to the whalers,
but they did something like that.
That the killer whales would get a benefit of getting some of the meat or something.
Yeah.
And then that was their deal.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
There's another famous Australian whale. Who you guys know?
The white one.
The white one.
Migaloo. I want to see Migaloo.
I want to see Migaloo
too.
I've met people who've seen Migaloo, 2 people, but
I know.
I've never actually seen it. But that whale's doing surprisingly well for possibly. Have they confirmed that Migaloo's albino?
I don't.
They have they've swam with it, so I mean, people have swam with that whale.
I think we talked about this before, but animals usually with that condition usually always have other issues that make them not too viable, and also being bright white kind of makes you hey, look at me, eat me, and with some other animals, it's...
But they think he was born in 1986.
Wow.
So he's pretty old. He's in his 30s.
That's old.
I mean, for a whale that potentially could have other health issues,
he
exactly,
made it all the way
issues,
through maturity, and he's been an adult whale for quite a long time and hasn't really had an issue. He's an Australian humpback, which means he goes down to Antarctica for feeding season. So maybe that's part of why he doesn't really have as many issues. The water's pretty murky and blends into the ice, and
could be,
maybe he doesn't have as many problems down there.
Speaking of the skeleton from Australia, I went in the whale museum in Friday Harbor,
awesome.
Which is really cool.
Yeah,
they have
cool.
killer whales. They have
some dolphin too.
Yeah, they have I think they have common dolphins. They have minke whale bones, gray whale skull. But I actually went in the Center for Whale Research. I didn't go in that building the first time, and they have a full. It's a wooden dorsal fin of a male killer whale, and I stood up next to it, and it's supposed to be a life-size one. It's as tall as me. I mean, it's a little shorter, but it's still really crazy.
When you go back, take a picture. That'd be cool. Stand up right next to it.
Another thing was they have a head of a big male killer whale or something. And it's huge.
Yeah.
The teeth are huge.
Yeah.
I didn't know they're that big.
Oh yeah.
How long are the teeth on the killer whale? You think 6 inches?
Maybe not that long.
Bigger one?
Yeah.
A little bit shorter than that.
Maybe.
At least 4 or 5.
They were big. Well, because they go down in the gums and stuff. Yeah. But, I mean, whew.
I have a picture of me, I think it's somewhere on my Twitter, of holding my arms out I'm kind of holding this mounted killer whale skull at Cal Academy. And, it's the face is longer than my arm.
Yeah. That's what it always takes. That you to stand up,
Human for scale.
Yeah, we always get pretty sad about strandings and stuff like that. But I think we talked about how me and Slater have been to a few strandings. You have been to a few strandings, and that's the few chances you can really get, to feel the true size of these animals.
Yeah, get a sense of just how big it is.
Like that blue whale up in Point Reyes, juvenile. It's you're still sitting there whoa.
Yeah, I remember. chatting with Asha DeVos one time about like how big is a blue whale, right? Because that's like what she does her research on.
Yeah.
And when she was at UC Santa Cruz, almost adult, full-grown adult, washed up in like in San Francisco somewhere, and she went up there and she was like, the whale was kind of on its side, and so she's just like, she felt like the whale was like towering over her, dead on the beach. And then she was just like, it was still so mind-blowing to stand right next to it and not realize like how big it was.
There's a few places, luckily, I don't want to say the Cabrillo Aquarium back in LA, a little aquarium there, they have like a top of either a blue or fin whale skull, I think, outside that a lot of people can stand next to. And I know the LA Natural History Museum has its bone warehouse, but that's not open to the public. So I wish more of that was available to the public so people can, just the skeletons, just amaze people.
When Cheryl and I went to Penasco a couple years ago, there's like this empty lot down by like the shopping area.
Yeah.
And there's fin whale skulls in the empty lot just sitting. I was like, okay. So I just like sat on the fin whale skull so you could see how big it was. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, down in
casual
Baja.
Laying around.
Yeah, there's certain places where there's just bones everywhere. There's a taco place that has a gray whale, full articulated skeleton on like its roof. Yeah. Oh, and right here over at Seymour Center, Long Marine Lab, there's that blue whale skeleton.
Blue whale out in front there at Long Marine Lab.
So I just Googled killer whale skull, and you can buy one for $1,000, but two, a northern right whale dolphin skull is for sale for $350.
Are those replicas? They're replicas.
I'm gonna assume. I'm gonna assume they are. But
it's probably that company, Bone Clones. They make good stuff.
Or Skulls Unlimited.
Northern right whale. Yeah. But anyways, I want to show you. But the northern right whale dolphin skull kind of looks like common dolphin teeth, huh?
Oh wow, that's really neat.
Yeah.
It's like a bird.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like one.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
I thought that'd be a bird if you didn't tell me.
They do really have like a thinner, more delicate
head.
You can see have a lot of teeth?
They probably do after going after little fish.
I think they messed up on that.
I don't know. That kind of looks right to me.
That's like a pterodactyl.
Oh, that's a lot of teeth. It looks like a common dolphin, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Look, that's like 1,000 teeth.
Yeah.
Not really 1,000, but...
I don't know. Google how many teeth they have.
Well, just think about it. It eats small fish, yeah. More teeth, more little teeth, the better. The actual number... There's a couple hundred in there. I don't want to say.
No, yeah.
There's 1 million teeth in there, Herc.
They have 37 to 54 pairs of small cone-shaped teeth in each jaw.
That looks like more than that in there.
37 to 54 pairs.
Oh, pairs.
So up to 108 teeth.
Oh.
Still looks like more.
Yeah. What other famous whales do you guys know?
Remember Patches?
Patches, the bottlenose dolphin.
Oh, I know Patches.
Yeah, us Southern California people know Patches.
Patches has been to Monterey ever? No, because he's no.
Offshores are not a common thing here.
I thought I heard that it's been seen in San Francisco, but I think it's San Diego.
I think
have no idea.
Historically, I think they might have gone up there, but probably pretty offshore in some warmer currents.
We just talked about Iceberg, the killer whale, not that long ago because there was a sighting in Korea.
Japan, yeah.
Hokkaido, Japan, yeah.
Remember, there was that incident where they couldn't get any closer.
I was going to say they couldn't go because it was Japanese waters.
Cross that line.
Like that, yeah.
Russian waters?
Russia,
yeah, I think it was Russia, yeah.
Oh, the Japanese were in the Russian waters.
They were, Iceberg swam into Russian waters, so the Japanese boat could not follow it.
Oh.
It's funny if the whales knew. It's like, come look at me here.
He's
Here's the line.
He's going back and forth, and both side researchers are stopped staring. He's doing like what Fatfin does, just zigzagging 1 mile in each direction.
Seems like I just realized a lot of our famous whales are miscolored whales. Casper, our little
Rizzo. I feel cool that I've seen that one twice.
Yeah.
And not just like in a week, but like once, in
2000, I think 2018 was a good year for it. We saw Casper like 4 or 5 times, I think.
Yeah, and then we saw it in 2017, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 16? You guys know I haven't seen him.
Yeah, well, you haven't seen a lot. So.
Hey, you ever seen a letterback? You seen a letterback, Slater?
Really? Again, you guys are so mean. It's funny because one time, maybe 2 times, one time for sure, I was on the water, but we were with BBC filming for Blue Planet 2. And they were like, nope, it's not part of the storyline. We don't want to go look at it. I was like, but it's so interesting. They were like, nope.
Someone did that to me, and I wanted to see a tufted puffin. They said, well, it's not a whale. And I was like, oh, okay.
We were like less than 2 miles away from the pod, and I was really just like, please swim by us. Please swim by us. We were looking for common dolphins instead, and I was like, this is lame.
So, iceberg. Yeah. Oh, JJ the gray whale.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, JJ.
JJ the gray whale.
Did we talk about? I feel like we talked about that during.
I think briefly, yeah.
Gray whale season.
We did, yeah.
Gray whale, Gray whale. JJ was a gray whale.
1996, I think.
Was it a calf or no?
Yeah, it was a calf.
It was a calf that was found rolling in the surf that had lost its mom off the coast of San Diego.
Dang.
Yeah.
And then they brought it into SeaWorld.
SeaWorld, yeah.
And they actually
kept her for 14 months.
Yeah, and raised it up and then let it go.
Yep.
It'd be so cool.
They wanted to keep track of JJ, but
how long did it last?
Not even minutes.
I think it hit the water and fell right off.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, no, catch that thing.
If you listen to...
It's not like you're going to hold on to its tail.
Jim talks about it.
If you listen to Jim Sumich talk about it, he was one of the people that was like...
He was there when they dropped in the water?
Yeah, he was doing studies on her to get a bunch of metabolic information from her while she was in captivity. And he was there the day they released her, and he saw the guys trying to mount the satellite tag because they had put anchor pins in her back to mount the tag with, like a couple weeks before, hoping it would heal it closed and like hold it in her
like a piercing
body. Yeah, and he saw them like pick up the anchor pieces, and they were not healed over, and he's sure they just slipped right out as soon as she went in the water.
Yeah. I just realized if you really think about a lot of these whales who are famous, I mean, they really do bring attention, to these animals.
It was a huge deal.
Right now, Rod was talking about it. There's that humpback in Alamitos right now, up towards San Francisco, pretty far inland. They say it's not looking too good, but every time they put a picture in the paper, it's breaching or it's got its head out of the water.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's like Humphrey.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the story of Humphrey the Humpback?
This is almost the exact situation. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I remember having a book about it when I was a kid.
You can still
never
find
heard of it.
Yeah. So he was a humpback whale.
I've never heard of it.
You never heard? Oh, I'm gonna buy you the book.
Yeah, he came
I'm not reading it.
To San Francisco
Make you listen.
Bay.
I'll read it to you.
Only if it's an audiobook. We'll Slater read it.
Even a kid's book he won't read.
So he came way into San Francisco Bay, and then the first time he got stranded on the beach when the tide changed, and then he came in again. Did he strand twice?
He came back twice. Then, he went way up the river.
Yeah,
way
and
up.
so I had like a little kid's book that like talked about how the boats were like coaxing him back out into the ocean after he was refloated. And,
okay, I heard about this one.
Yeah,
you can still find this kid's book, especially in the Bay Area. In fact, I should have bought it. You know that antique mall over at Cannery Row?
Yeah.
You know how it's obviously a lot of locals will dump their stuff there?
Yeah.
Someone had the newspaper clipping when he left the Bay. I was like, I should have just bought that.
I wonder if my mom has that, because I was really fascinated with that kind of stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know who actually worked with Humphrey and like has recordings of him, lots of photos and videos of him, is Tom Kekeffer over at Save the Whales.
Yeah, Save the Whales.
Yeah. He talks about during their school programs in the area, they have a little section about Humphrey the Humpback and stuff. It's pretty cool. So speaking of like newspaper clippings, another whale I followed like religiously when I was a kid was Keiko.
Oh yeah, everyone knows Keiko.
Yeah.
Keiko, aka Willie.
Yeah.
Free.
Tell everyone the story about Keiko and Mexico and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's an Icelandic killer whale that was at a marine park in Mexico, and he was not doing very well health-wise. He had like a really bad skin rash, and he was underweight, and he really wasn't doing well, and the facility didn't know what to do with him. So the Oregon Coast Aquarium somehow got it in their heads, one, that this whale was available, and two, that they wanted it. So they renovated their facility and trucked him from Mexico to Oregon in a container truck. Which I thought was fascinating, and people would line up on the highway and like have their little parade as he went by. That's why I thought it was so interesting. My mom would be like, look at the newspaper, all the people were lined up on the road when the whale went by. I'm like, there's a whale in a car. And
it's funny and not funny.
When he got to the Oregon Coast Aquarium, his skin condition cleaned up really well, and he gained a lot of weight, and so they started to work with him more. He was used in the movies for Free Willy, and then I think in the first Free Willy you can still see the skin irritation around his pec fins, actually, because he was still getting over it.
Yeah, you can.
And then when his skin condition cleared up, they started to see if they could like put live prey in his pen and what he would do with it, and he got interested in it and would actually catch it. So then they started to think, maybe we can put this whale back in the wild. Like, maybe he's a sea pen candidate. And so they ended up doing that, I think, off the coast of Norway, though.
Iceland?
It was up there somewhere, North
I
Atlantic.
I feel like it was in Iceland.
Yeah, they had that big old
sea
sea
pen.
pen.
Back to Iceland.
Yeah.
That's where he was captured, though, right?
Yeah, he was an Icelandic killer whale.
Yeah.
And then they would like take him out with, do walks. They'd like take him out in the boat and have him follow the boat around and like take him out of his pen. And then they were hoping that he would start to like acclimate to the environment and then maybe hear other killer whales in the area. And one day he saw killer whales and was kind of interested in it, but then didn't go for it. And then another day he saw killer whales and just like went with the pod. And so they were like, bye, good luck. But he ended up dying not that long after.
And he ended up still coming back to people.
Yeah.
I remember the final days he was still. There was like a pretty good documentary on it, right? I just don't recall where I saw it. Yeah, they showed the whole rehabilitation process.
There's a lot of information out there about him, though. He's a really well.
And still to this day, a lot of controversy because still, people are always talking about releasing things and the proper steps to take, and they're like, oh, Keiko was a waste of money, he did it all wrong, so. It's still very.
Yeah, I mean, he still contracted pneumonia, which a lot of captive whales contract and die from. But, how much more enriching was his life at the end there, being out in the wild, getting all that stimulus from the natural environment?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that movie itself and Keiko, I mean, think about it's how many kids it's inspired. You talk to like every naturalist deckhand out there, even some captains, like, oh yeah, I loved that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want to admit it.
Speaking of captivity, Canada banned cetacean captivity.
Yes, they did.
So there's no more dolphins in captivity.
So what are they going to do at Vancouver Aquarium with like Chester and stuff?
I think Chester.
I'm gonna assume what it means.
Don't they have other like belugas or something there too?
I'm not sure what's left there.
Probably what's gonna happen with if there's any marine parks that have animals, I'm gonna assume they just can't breed anymore.
So no more acquisitions.
But I thought they already did that. They already said that they couldn't breed in captivity anymore, and somehow they keep having whales.
Yeah, Chester actually passed away.
Oh, he did.
I remember talking to one of our Canadian buddies about that. I'm not sure what's still left over at Vancouver.
So maybe just no new acquisitions, and what they have is.
I know it's no breeding. Yeah.
And then another thing that happened in the Pacific Northwest was so they wanted to cull seals and sea lions, and it didn't pass.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
My opinion is if you have to kill predators to balance the prey, we're managing the prey.
Yeah,
wrong.
Exactly.
The humans are taking too much, so we need to, let things go. So what about some other famous whales? Speaking of Northwest, Granny.
Oh. I never saw Granny.
Rest in peace.
I don't know if I did or not.
I got to
when
see
I was
her.
A kid.
I got to see her. She's kind of a little female. I just remember looking for that dorsal fin. It's a perfect, like almost like a human bite mark in the middle back of her dorsal.
A nice little crescent.
Yeah. In fact, that was one of the few times that I know.
Is it a human bite mark?
It does look like that. It's like almost like a person's bite mark.
Not my bite mark.
Like what it looks like when you bite an apple, or what?
I remember the first time I saw her. Yeah, it was pretty much all of J-Pod just like heading into Canada. I remember some of my photos have the Canadian flag in the background. Yeah.
How cool is it the first time you see the residents? Were they like in a line, like the trailers and like?
They were pretty much more like side by side.
Really?
But I remember looking at one photo.
Like parade. It was like the best way I feel like to
just
see
like
them.
one frame you look and you count like, whoa, there's like 12 dorsals in here.
I hope I get to see the residents in September.
I hope so too. That'd be fun. That'd be good that'd be a really good trip if you guys got to see residents.
Yeah.
What about the residents are pretty famous. Actually, just all Pacific Northwest. I mean, because that's where the captive industry worked, right? So like Moby Doll.
Yeah. Moby Doll had a cool story.
Yeah.
She was shot with a harpoon. Well, you guys know this. And then, she was shot with a harpoon. And then, it wasn't a she, but that comes later. And then she survived. And so they were like, well, we'll just keep it in a tank, and they put it in captivity. They put it in a pen, I think, in a cove, right? And then I don't know, I forget how long they kept it, but isn't that crazy? First off, she survived a harpoon.
Yeah.
And then lived. And first off, like, why would you think that'd be a good one to show off with a big old scar probably somewhere in the back, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess it lasted quite a while, but then it ended up dying, and they thought it was from like just some sort of disease that she acquired. Ended up being once they did like the autopsy on her.
Was it lead? You
said? It was they found a bullet in her, so it was not only shot with a harpoon; it had been shot with a bullet before that, probably.
Good gravy.
Yeah. but she was and then so ended up so obviously once they had it in captivity, they were able to look at it and they found out that it was a male. Mm-hmm. And then what's it called? That was the second whale that was captured actually. Mm-hmm. And then the first one, what was Namu?
I think Namu, yeah.
Yeah, and that one didn't last very long either, right?
No. Namu was in a sea pen for a while, and it was didn't he only go on display one day?
I don't know.
Not sure.
I think it was like only one day or something.
But that book that Slater...
I know. I gotta stop referencing. It's crazy.
It's a good book, but I just
so
like because it's so much history. Because most of us are so used to bio. This is more history, which I love. Yeah.
No, it's really. That's why I like it. I think because it's history and it's not super sciencey.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like all the things that took place with killer whales. And humans.
It's good to have a different point of view every now and then. That's why I can't wait to finish it.
There's like 4 other famous killer whales that ended up in captivity on my list. So it's Orky, Corky, Lolita, and Shamu.
Yeah.
There's been many iterations of Shamu.
Yeah, and they keep on changing those names. Yeah. I told you guys where they came up with Shamu, right? Namu, make it the girls to put SH in front of it. Yeah. And then Corky,
that's in that book.
Yeah, they keep on reusing these names. Corky, was actually the original Corky actually passed away, and they always just
in 1970.
Yeah, just give him a new name.
Corky 2 is an apod killer whale.
Yeah.
That is. Did it die or is it still alive?
I want to say the second Corky is in Florida now.
No, lives at
San Diego.
SeaWorld. San Diego.
Yeah, I remember
Corky 2 is still alive.
A kid seeing Corky and Orky, or one version of them, when I was a kid in Marineland. I grew up over there.
Yeah, Orky 2 was caught the year before Corky.
Yeah.
And then they lived in the same marine park for 17 years. I remember a story. Is it in this book at all, Slater? Orky and Corky were held in the same facility, and they were starving for like months because they weren't eating. They wouldn't eat.
Was it a mom and a son or something?
It was a male and a female, and one convinced the other one.
They don't call it by Orky and Corky, but basically what was happening is they were transients.
Yeah.
And what happened was they weren't eating. They were trying to feed it salmon or cod or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they wouldn't eat it for like I don't know how long it was, like a month or more than that.
They were basically dying.
And usually when things like this happen, the mom is the one that like forces the kids to eat or whatever. And so actually what happened was the male brought the I forget what fish it was, but brought it over to the mom, and then they both went down to the bottom and split it in half, and then they ate it. But isn't that cool that the male grabbed? It's not, I mean, it's sad, but and then and then he went back, grabbed more, and brought it down to her. Kept doing it, and they kept eating. Yeah,
I remember whoever was telling me the story was like their ribs were visible at this point. Like if they didn't eat within the next few days, they were toast.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And then that's when they were like, wow, they're way more complex than we thought. Mm-hmm. And then they got like super sad about it because they're like, this is crazy that's sharing, with the other one.
Maybe it wasn't a talk. Maybe it was Rick O'Barry's film or something. He talked about it or something. Flipper, the bottlenose dolphin. He's another famous
They talk
one.
about Rick O'Barry in the book too.
Yeah.
And they talk about Ken Balcom. They talk about a lot of them. A lot of the researchers or conservationists.
Yeah. So Flipper, the bottlenose dolphin's another famous whale, cetacean.
Was it actually? Where was it? It's in Miami or something?
Florida.
Yeah. There was quite a few flippers, like especially when they did the show.
I've never learned the
had
history,
like 6 dolphins.
Of the original flipper. Yeah. It really is. It was 6 different
ones.
In
the show, I don't know about. Before that, there was one original one.
It'd be interesting.
I love that movie. I mean, no matter what, I'm always gonna love that.
There you go. He says the movie again.
I mean, come on, dude. He eats Cheerio or what is it? Not Cheerios. SpaghettiOs, and he burns his toast on the wall with like a blowtorch.
So me and Slater always discuss this every time we bring up Flipper. To the younger generation, Flipper is a show. Well,
no,
it was a show. The older generation to show. The newer generation, it's a movie. Yeah. So I was like, Slater.
I like the movie Flipper.
And then I told him about the newer show version that had Jessica Alba in it, and no one believed me. I was like, no, there was
we Googled it one time.
I was like, Jessica Alba was in a Flipper show. I was like, what? I was like, I swear.
I know another famous dolphin from Australia, Jack, the Rizzo's dolphin.
Jack was actually, let me think where he was from.
Or was it New Zealand?
I think
that was, New Zealand.
Yeah, I think New
Where's
Zealand.
Pete?
I think Pete said that last time.
Yeah, we need to talk to Pete again.
Pete, tell us about
Pelorus,
Ooh.
Jack.
I don't speak New Zealand. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm saying it wrong with my accent.
What's this sea lion's name in Cabo?
Oh, the one that steals fish all the time?
The one that, and then it gets on the back of boats while they're driving and, like, sits there.
Carlos or something?
I don't know, yeah, but there's a sea lion that, I mean, it's not the best thing. It actually...
Yeah, but that New Zealand dolphin is Rizzo Dolphin's pretty popular, too. I remember...
Poncho, the sea lion.
Poncho, yeah.
Was it Poncho?
Yeah, he, like, grabs Dorado. Like, there's a video of him grabbing...
Oh,
he jumps up and pulls the Dorado
This guy's,
out of
like,
the guy's
getting
hand.
his picture taken in the back deck of his boat.
Yeah.
Did you find anything on that Jack?
Yeah, Jack, the Rizzo's dolphin, old sea captain said he used to escort them through Cook Strait in New Zealand, which was like really sketchy to navigate. From the years 1888 to the years 1912, they have records of saying that this dolphin guided them into the harbor, which is pretty interesting. And Rizzo's dolphins can definitely be identified as individuals. They're very recognizable. So he was known for escorting ships into Cook Strait.
And there was something about
someone
him being shot at.
Him.
Yes.
Yeah. It says here in 1904, someone aboard the SS Penguin tried to shoot Jack with a rifle. Despite the attempt on his life, Jack continued to help ships. Interesting.
Scary.
There is some folklore saying, however, that Jack no longer helped the SS Penguin into the harbor and was shipwrecked in 1909 in Cook Strait.
The curse of Jack the Rizzo.
And he was one of the first cetaceans to be protected by law because of that. So following the shooting incident, a law was proposed to protect Jack, and he became protected by the Order in Council under the Sea Fisheries Act in 1904.
Another whale we should definitely bring up. You mentioned the name, but we forgot to actually talk about her, Lolita.
Yes.
And her real name.
She's a L-pod whale, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want them to release her in the L-pod.
Isn't her mom still alive?
Yeah. There's family that's still alive that would.
Yeah.
No.
I think she would be a good release candidate. She's a resident
I'm sure
whale,
they would...
and she's in the same pen as Pacific white-sided dolphins, isn't she? At Miami Sea Aquarium. I think she shares a pool with dolphins.
Well, I mean, technically she wouldn't eat them either way.
No, and the dolphins wouldn't be afraid of her if they had lived in the wild too and knew what a resident was.
Scary.
Yeah.
But they always show...
What do you guys think? How do you feel about that? Would you want her to be released?
I think she's a good
candidate. I think it would be cool. Like, I mean, I don't know.
If her health was proved good enough, which I heard the last time someone went to Miami Sea Aquarium that has observed her, it sounds like her health's declining. But if she was healthy enough to go out into the wild, I think she should.
But it has to be like she has to be acclimated, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, you can't just like dump her out there. And
it's not like you're free.
No, like
let's find your family. Like no, there would be some major steps taken.
Let's just say I'm a scientist, okay, guys. We make her a sea pen, like somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, right?
Yeah.
Then keep her there for like maybe a couple weeks. Then when L-Pod comes by, after they're done hanging out in Monterey again, then you slip her into the pod.
So that's the tricky thing.
But how do you do that? You just like drop her off?
Two concerns, because one, we don't really have a good read on where L-Pod's been going the last few years. Like, especially since that last whale died from having that dorsal tag on, because they're one of the ones that roam the coast a lot based on the satellite tag data. The other thing is the prey situation, the food situation. Like,
oh yeah, who would feed her?
Yeah, I mean, she probably could still figure out how to capture live food because she was like raised up there.
And if you really think about,
they might bring her food though.
The situation is so dire right now.
Yeah.
Is that even fair?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
I was just about to say, do we want to put her in that situation?
You're right. Maybe I don't, because one, it's like one more mouth to feed, and she probably gets fed way better not being.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, in this particular situation.
Yeah.
Overall, we've all spoke our piece about how we feel about captivity, but I don't think it's fair to put her out there right now with the way the situation is in the Northwest.
Yep. All right, I changed my mind. No pens.
It's just
Slater science is out.
Very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's a really heartbreaking situation. Like, I wish we had.
It would be a cool story though, right? Like, can you imagine she joins L-Pod, she actually says, "Hey, the salmon's right here," and then they live a happy life.
We can make a new whale movie about it.
Yeah. There's another famous killer whale, Luna.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've heard the name. But
that's a sad story too.
Yeah. No more sad stories. What other?
A lot of them are sad.
What about another humpback? Is there any other humpbacks? Not ones that.
Not a sad one.
Not ones that have died.
I'm trying to think.
Down south. I mean, obviously we have our usual humpback whales over here. I wouldn't say they're famous, like chompers and black rakes, and then Fran over here, and
Trainwreck,
Angry Bird, and
we
can go on and on.
Something that's really cool.
What?
And I've seen it. I feel like for sure one time, but I think 2 times. I think both times. I want to say like on the way to Catalina, offshore bottlenose dolphin with one common dolphin.
Oh yeah.
Is it the same one? Do you have photos?
I don't know. No, I wasn't even.
You get weird.
I was just on the boat. I probably didn't even know about cameras then.
We get weird stuff like that.
Have you seen Scarback? I know you have. Have you seen Scarback?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've all seen Scarback the gray whale.
Okay, but wait. Why would they have a common dolphin?
I don't know.
They hold it captive,
you think
it got lost and they just picked it up?
Like, come here, friend. You need.
I don't know. It just needed maybe companionship. It's like, oh, you guys look dolphinish.
I lost my pod.
Well, we got that one.
I still think that's really cool.
A few weeks ago, we had that humpback, and everyone noticed it for a few days. We had a lone bottlenose hanging out with humpbacks out here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. Eric and I were on the boat together. It was just one bottlenose.
I couldn't believe it. I was like,
we talked about that for sure.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so now what did you guys want to say after
Scarback.
Scarback, yes.
She's a very famous whale. She feeds off of the coast of Oregon in Depot Bay, where they pull the mysid shrimp off the kelp there. And she has a asymmetrical wound on her back, they think from an exploding harpoon. So Scarback is a good example that I talk to people about how there's whales alive today that lived through whaling and yet still are very boat tolerant. Like Scarback has close encounters with those little zodiacs up in Depot Bay, like fairly often, like once or twice a season. She'll like have a pretty close encounter with a boat, and she seems to be okay with it.
I think did she have a calf or she was pregnant?
She's had calves. I messaged the first time I think I ever talked to you. I messaged you on Facebook because you had a drone video of her.
Oh, and you were asking for
Jim. Yeah, because I was like, she looks really wide. She might be pregnant.
So they think it was an exploding harpoon, and the reason why they think that is because, the last people to have exploding harpoons was in Russia, I think, though. They were the last people to use them. Jim thinks that she stays off the Oregon coast because she physically cannot migrate the full migration. So she may have been a Russian gray whale. She may have been an East Pacific gray whale before then, but she cannot make that big journey anymore because she does have some debilitation from the injury.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Huh.
So she found a place that has food. This year?
I feel like they did. No?
Yes.
Someone did, maybe.
I thought they saw her southbound.
I want to say Southern California did.
I've only seen her southbound.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of the same whales twice northbound.
The northbound gray whale migration is so scattered. It happens in such a long, drawn-out phase.
I think especially in Southern California, we do have some that, especially during southbound, a lot of people don't think. I mean, we always know our gray whales as coastal whales, but they'll go back there behind Catalina too.
Sometimes I feel like, oh my goodness, the first part of the migration we're going 10 or 11 miles out. Like we used to always say, just go straight out, and then they eventually, because they come in along the island and then they bend it in right at Dana Point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Newport kind of gets dusted on the first part of that migration.
Well, that's kind of like Santa Cruz on the southbound migration, right? They're pretty widely scattered coming down past the Farallones. And then they funnel in at Point Pinos because there's kind of the bend in the coastline there too.
How many? It's crazy because how many passed away this year? But we saw there was days in the beginning of this migration that was 45 a trip. Oh yeah,
the ACS trip was 60 whales in 2 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It was nuts. There's a lot of gray whales.
I'm just wondering if the populations are gonna just kind of be shuffled up, or we're going to see increases in that Pacific feeding group. I wonder if the whales are going to catch on.
Yeah.
Thinking, hey, there might be better food here. I'm not going to go that far north.
I mean, the ocean conditions the last 5 years have just been so out of whack in the California currents that it's anything goes at this point. So we'll see how it goes. You guys know any other famous whales?
No.
On the topic?
There's a lot more, yeah.
If you have a famous... fungi. We talked about fungi with Eva.
Yeah.
He's a dolphin.
The audio is kind of messed up.
Oh, yeah. So fungi's a dolphin that's seen around the Dingle Peninsula in Ireland. And
that's... I know this animal.
He's in his 40s, I think. He's a bottlenose dolphin. And he showed up decades ago by himself, and he used to like people could swim out from the harbor and swim with him.
Yeah,
he used to be like super tolerant. Now, I mean, you see him with the boats almost every day, but he's like they say he's a little more grouchy.
Doug actually was telling me about Fungi. Yeah,
yeah, he's a famous dolphin.
That's cool.
But yeah, if you guys know other ones, send them to us. We'd love to hear about them. I think that kind of stuff's really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, you know who we forgot about?
Who?
Winter.
Oh yeah.
The bottlenose?
Yeah. Did you watch that movie too?
Dolphin Tale.
1 and 2. Actually, I saw.
Oh yeah, Hope and Winter.
Yeah, right? I saw it on the plane. Actually, I think.
Did you really?
The second one I saw on the plane. Yeah. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman's in it, right?
Prosthetic flukes.
Any movie Morgan Freeman's in is usually a pretty good movie too. Like Bruce Almighty, Evan Almighty. Those are good movies.
I am a Morgan Freeman fan.
All right, we're starting to lose track of whales.
Yes, we are.
This is when we have to end the podcast.
Exactly.
We can't talk about whale movies.
Start getting wild.
Whale movies, whale books.
Maybe that'll be another topic. We should just do whale movies. Even though we feel like
or
we
just
covered
like
a lot
whales
of
in popular culture.
Or when you finish your book, we're going to do whale book reviews, you know?
Yeah. There are some good ones out there. But yeah, if you know other famous whales or dolphins, send them to us. It's always fun to hear about that kind of stuff.
Or any other topic matters you want to...
Yeah,
send us some topics, you guys. I feel like we've been just doing a lot of trip reports and stuff lately, and just some random guests here and there. But we'd love to hear some more topic ideas.
For sure.
We're going to end this right here, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. On Spotify, iTunes, Podbean. I was just looking at all the stats of the day. We have tons and tons of listeners, so that's really awesome.
And thank you to our Patreon follower. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can go to patreon.com/Whalenerds. It's in our bio on our Podbean site as well.
And on our Instagram. If you guys don't follow us on Instagram, it's Whalenerds. And thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.